Welcome to this Island Wealth channel. Today I'm going to talk to you about the continuations of the BRICS and United States. BRICS versus United States. Welcome to the people on Zapstream. I'm on Zapstream also. I'm streaming on Nostr. I like this community because that's my Bitcoin community on Nostr. Today's topic is going to be about how the data that we saw last time of the BRICS can be put into a macroeconomic framework. And the data of the BRICS, we will also do this for the United States. We saw a lot of data. If you have not seen that episode, go back and see on my LinkedIn, YouTube, Facebook, that episode. I'm going to put that episode also on Nostr. Why would you want to listen to me? My name is Rooney Camara. I am your host. I'm an economist, and I've been studying economic models and small island economies and large island economies for 30 years already. That means that I can tell you something about how the economic financial warfare between the United States and the BRICS and the other countries, how it's going to affect the United States, how it's going to affect your wealth. Because this is about island wealth. Island wealth means money in your pocket, a wealthy mindset, a wealthy, lovely heart set, I can tell you, and also your soul, and also your body. Wealth doesn't only mean money, money, money. It means your well-being. Okay. So let's go directly to the screen. I want to share with you. If you want to hear more about the VIP launch that we are working on, what you need to do is you need to go to bit.ly, and you need to go to USA-macro-investment-model. When you click there, you will come up on this website, and then what you will see is you will put your name and your email in here, and then hit that let me in the VIP. In the VIP launch, that's a beautiful launch where we are serving cocktails from the Caribbean. That means that I will take care of you, and by raising your hand and putting your name and your email, you just tell me, don't spam me, but just notify me when your 16-week program, where we're going to dive in the United States economy versus China, versus the BRICS. We're going to run some simulations. We're going to create a whole macroeconomic model. And we're going to run simulations so that you can know exactly what can happen. What is a macroeconomic model about? Today I'm also going to talk to you because I'm going to show you a macroeconomic model live of Curacao. But you can create the same macroeconomic model like I'm going to show you today for the BRICS, for all those countries, Russia, China, India, South Africa, UAE, United Arab Emirates, Ethiopia, Iran. You can create a macroeconomic model and you can simulate what's going to happen. Now, the thing we want to simulate today is what happens if you put a tariff. What happens if you put a tariff on the imports of, for instance, Canada and Mexico, or you put a tariff on China? What happens with your economy? So you're thinking maybe you're going to hurt China, you're going to hurt Canada, you're going to hurt Mexico. And with you, I mean maybe the politicians, the people in the United States. But you're going to hurt yourself, and I'm going to show you exactly how it happens. Now, I don't have yet a macroeconomic model for United States, but I can do the same thing. I can do the same thing for another country. You understand? So what I'm going to do is going to show you right away the spreadsheet. Let me show you my spreadsheet. So this is the spreadsheet. What is this spreadsheet about? This is exactly a macroeconomic model. This is how a macroeconomic model looks like. For, in this case, Curacao. I created this macroeconomic model. I have this macroeconomic model for already 12 islands in the Caribbean. And my goal is to create this macroeconomic model for 57 islands in the world. But I also have a great opportunity to build this macroeconomic model for the United States. Now, let me just give you exactly what this is about, and then we will come back to running a simulation by increasing the tariffs in Curacao on the imports. And I'm going to show you exactly how that works. For Curacao, we're going to walk through it step by step so that you know. And don't think that Curacao is different from the United States. The economies, they work the same. So what you're going to see today, and make your own conclusions, is going to also happen if the tariff continues. If Trump puts a 25% tariff on Canada, on China, on Mexico, maybe on Europe, this is going to happen. So let me show you what we're going to work with the offer of the United States. Creating the USA model, yeah, it's going to be creating that model. I'm going to show you exactly let me go back. So we're going back to the model of Curacao. And when you're going back to the model of Curacao, what do you see here? Let me just put this. This model has been created. It's in a spreadsheet. When it runs in a spreadsheet, what do you see here? So let's go right away back to how much does Curacao import? Because if you want to put a tariff on the imports, right, you need to know how much this economy imports. Just the same as USA. How much does it import? So now, if you go to this row, you see here the real sector. This is the real economy. And if you go to the imports of goods and services, you click here, and you go to 2025. So this number, you see right away that Curacao is expected to import 6.1 billion guilders. 6.1 billion guilders is the total imports of goods and services. So that's what we can tax. But this is from all the imports from United States, from the Netherlands, for all the countries. To give you some perspective, guilders, if you have, let's say, divided by 2, you would say it's like 3 billion US dollars. 3 billion US dollars that Curacao imports. Now, if we want to have a raise of 25%, I calculated here exactly. Let me see, show you the formula. I calculated exactly like where is this thing pointing to. You see, this number is pointing from the imports. So it means that you see it's 0.25. You see in the top left, you see it's 0.25 times this, so 25% of the whole imports. But for an easy way, I have put half of the imports. So imagine that we want to target one country, and the country has half of the imports. So, for instance, United States, imagine that we want to tax all the imports of the United States, or all the imports from Colombia, or all the imports from the Netherlands. In the case of United States, it will be specific imports, not all the imports, but specific cars or whatever. But for the sake of the argument, imagine we have the total value, which is 3 billion US dollars. And then we want to target half of it, which is from a specific country, and we want to put a tariff of 0.25. So that's what is in there. This is 772 million. 772 million guilders, which is about half, 350 billion. So we already know that if we're going to tax half of the imports, and we target one specific country, and we put a tariff of 0.25%, it's going to change, and it's going to be this number. What if we increase the tariff? We increase the tariff. We don't want to put a 25%, but we want to put a 50%. So I'm going to change this into 50. Boom. You see, 1.5 billion guilders, which is 700 billion US dollars. So this is how you calculate the total sum of the money that you're going to get. That's what you think you're going to get. You understand? That's what you think you're going to get, but because it's not that simple. So what's going to happen? What's going to happen is this. You think you're going to get 772 billion guilders, because now everything you are going to make them pay. You understand? You're going to make them pay because you know what the imports are. You put a tariff on it, and you tax half of the tariff. In the case of United States, what Mr. Trump is doing, President Trump is taxing a specific category of imports. He might put a thing on the cars of Germany, or tax certain products of Mexico. Or he might put a tax on certain products of Europe, certain products of China. So he might be very, very specific which sectors he wants to target. Which specific sectors. There are a couple of sectors in the economy. I can show you that in a future episode. But that means that he's targeting especially those sectors. Okay? Then he will come up with a number. In our case, it's 772 million. But in the United States, When we look at the imports of the United States, like we did yesterday, when we look at the specific imports from China, from Mexico, from Canada, we know exactly how much do they import, and then we will calculate based on the tariff the total that we expect. But that's the first thing you only will see, because nobody's telling you that, but I'm going to tell you that what is going to happen if you do this within an economy. Now let's go back to the spreadsheet. If you have any questions, just ask the questions in there. Let me go back to my spreadsheet, which is my economic model of Curacao. So why am I doing this? I'm just showing you within an economic modeling framework what's going to happen if you increase the taxes. Good. We got 772. Where do we put that into the model? Because now we're going to run a scenario. What if we increase the taxes, the indirect taxes in this case, which is the tariffs? What if we increase it by, say, 772 in 2025? Now, for that, we move away from real economy and we go down to the government, right? Because in the government fiscal sector, these are the numbers of the Curacao economy. You have a revenue side and an expenditure side. But the same as this for Curacao, we will also have for the USA macroeconomic model, we will have the revenues and the expenditures, which are different numbers, trillions probably, not billions like Curacao. Curacao is a small island economy of only 2.5 billion US dollars, while the USA economy is I think 20 trillion to 25 trillion. But I will check that when we are going deeper into the economy. During our 16-week episode of Building the Economic Model, I'm going to share all that information with you. If you are an Oster and you want this to continue, please send me some sats to just show me that this is interested for you. Do you want to get an economic model? Because I'm also thinking about outsourcing the USA macro model and maybe also the BRICS macroeconomic models that I'm going to build. More on that later. More on that later because I'm going to refer to the data of the BRICS that we saw yesterday. I'm going to put them into this framework. Into this, the macroeconomic model framework. Okay? Because just like Curacao, we can create a macroeconomic model for the United States, but also from all the BRICS nations. All the BRIC nations. So if you are in the BRICS, if you are in China, if you are in India, if you are in, I think Indonesia also joined. If you are in South Africa, we have created these kind of models for Namibia, which is African countries. This is not only for small island economies. You can create these economies. They exist for Kenya. They exist for Zambia. They exist for Ethiopia. You understand? We don't yet have one for Iran, but you can analyze the economy with this kind of models. So now let's go and say, where do the tariffs come into place? Now, the tariffs are taxes on goods and services. And in economic terms, we call them indirect taxes. And indirect taxes means not on the profit and not on the income, wages. Because the direct taxes, what you see here, are the taxes on the wages, the profit, right? This is taxes on profit. What does it mean? We expect 303 million in taxes on the profits. And we expect, because Curacao has a tax, a value-added tax, which is a sales tax on goods and services, and we expect about 686 million of revenues on the taxes of the in 2025. You see here this figure. So I'm just talking there. And then the direct taxes on the wages is 491. So what we do is we want to increase this number, indirect taxes, with 772 million. That's the scenario. Because that's what Mr. Trump, if Mr. Trump was the president of Curacao, and if this Curacao macroeconomic model was the model of the United States, that's what you would expect, right? We're going to tax them, and we're going to receive all this money, and then our economy is going to grow. They're going to pay. But I'm here to show you who's going to pay. And now we're going to see it. So what you do is, what you simply do is, look at this. In here, if you go to the right, you see all kind of zero, because this is called the baseline. This is what the economy is doing normally till 2030. And this is zeros right now, because this side of the economy, we are having all kinds of formula in here. So these are not figures that are going to be fixed. This economic model means that we are going to use all kinds of formula, which is tried and tested in economic theory, the best of the formulas that we know. There is a 40, 50 years of experience in the Netherlands, and I've been trained by a mentor, by Dr. Marijn van Schaik in the Netherlands, to create these models. So in these models, there is the best knowledge that we know for the future, how the economy reacts. So now, these figures are not just going to be staying a symbol there. Now, I want you to look at the dashboards. You see here the dashboards. So you have some strategic dashboards where we see this. We see the general picture of the economy. This is basically the real economic growth. You see that Curacao had a huge dip, minus 18%. This was during COVID. And you see here there is a growing, and you see what they expected. What is expected. This is the growth rate. And below here you see the table. You see you see inflation. Look at the inflation. Inflation was very, very high in 2022. You see here, 7% in 2022, and now it's going down again. You see? Bong. Look at this. Good. We go back to the model, and now we're going to insert something into the model. We're going to raise the taxes. We're going to tax them. You're going to tariff them. Okay, so what we do is we go to plus, and we just enter 772. Why do I do that? Because in the formula, we want to increase this indirect taxes, which is the taxes on goods and services. That's where the tariff will come in. Enter, boom. So you see that the whole thing has increased, right? Because Mr. Trump thinks that it's going to increase the revenues and everything is going to be fine. We're going to get a balanced budget because we're going to get more budget because the taxes they're going to pay. But here you see here, this is the effect. So we're going to get a lot of more taxes in. This just means that our taxes went up with 800 million. 800 million, 900 million, 1 billion. Taxes going up. Great. Good. But let's look now at how the economy goes. Because it's not only, it's not only that you think more taxes will come in, because now something will happen in the economy, and then you will see what happens with the unemployment, with the economy. Let's go back. Let's go back to see the effects on the economy now. So if we go back down, there is not only the revenue side of the government and the expenditure side, but there is all other parts of the economy. This is the external sector. This is the economy, the exports and the imports. But let's go down. Monetary sector. Some things can happen in the monetary sector. This is the labor market. You see here? Jobs, unemployment. Everything will change. Because if we go to the right, you will see that everything will change. Employment will decrease. I will explain to you. Unemployment will go up. Unemployment will go up with 0.5%. Now, the key is, let's go to the key figures. The key is, because you put 731 million in the economy, and you raise them, you try to tax them. In Curacao, there is a tourism sector, but let's look now at imports. So here you see imports, and we go to the right. You see that imports indeed is going to be decreasing by 5% in this case. So imports is going to be decreased by 5% because it has been taxed, right? But the indirect taxes, it will go into the prices. And look at what is going to happen potentially with the price. Consumption price is going to increase with 11%. And then it's going to be a little lower, 4%, etc. But you will get the impact of inflation into your economy. And this is not the Chinese or the other people, Canada and Mexico, that's going to have a higher inflation. No, if this was a model of the United States, the Americans, like we said yesterday, but now I'm showing you, they can potentially have 11%. Okay, this economic model of Curacao is not predicting, is not forecasting, is not calibrated, tuned into the economy of the United States. That's why we need to build the economy, the macroeconomic model of the United States, and that's why it's going to be in the 16th-week program. It's going to be in the 16-week program, and I'm going to show you the idea again, because I want to keep offering you an opportunity to check this. But we're going to be right back, and I'm going to show you some graphs and what will happen to unemployment. But you already saw that inflation is going to be hitting you because the prices contain the taxes, and you are going to be paid. Well, how it works is that the inflation, everything will become more expensive, and it will spread around the economy because the import tariffs will be paid by somebody. Import will decrease, but when something is imported, the price will be pushed, and you have now to pay. In the case of, for instance, if they tax the European, German cars, you will have to pay the 25% more on the cars. The people in the businesses, they're going to maybe take a little bit of that off their profits, but they definitely will push that price to you. You understand? That increase of the tariffs to you. So let me go to you to show you what we're going to do. It's going to be a paid program, 16-week, but there are 50 spots, and the 50 people who join first will have that opportunity. So make sure you are on that in the VIP launch for when that episode will show up. Okay, so look at what we are in the macroeconomic model, and we just saw that inflation went up. Let's look at it in the graph, because in the graph you see, boom, inflation going up. So you see that blue line. The brown line was what inflation was before, and now blue line. So inflation was basically around 4%, and now inflation is projected to be, boom, going up to 14% because President Trump imposed a tariff on people, and the purchasing power, we're going to look at the purchasing power, that's to the right. You see that? Your purchasing power is going down because if inflation goes up, you can buy less with the same dollars that you have, with the same budget that you have. Now the struggle is going to be, are we going to pass that inflation, the wage, the wage unions, the unions in the United States, are they going to pass this price increase in demanding more wages? So what can also happen in this model, we have that, is now the wages go up. We're demanding more money because now our wages went up, and we are not going. We United States people, citizens, we're not going to take this this increase in prices. We want to have. We see purchasing power. Our kids are studying. Everything is becoming more expensive. Hey, this is not cool. We want more wages. So that's what's the power of the labor unions to demand more wages? Now, I'm studying Starbucks, for instance. Starbucks as an investment. I'm also investing in stocks. So here you see how everything comes together. When you are an investor, when you are using the macroeconomic model, you are participating in those 16 weeks, you're going to get the insights that other people are not going to get. I'm going to give you right now freely this discussion, but as soon as that program starts, we're going to dive deeper, and I'm going to focus my attention to those people. So if you are an investor, for instance, in Starbucks, then you see already how Starbucks people are unionizing themselves, and they are demanding higher wages. They are demanding higher wages because things are very, very expensive. In this scenario where the United States is fighting the world, putting tariffs on all the markets, putting tariffs on the BRICS, like we saw yesterday with the data. Look at the first episode. This week I'm going to do 5 episodes. Then in that environment, everybody will say, we are demanding more wages. So this will also go to the stock exchange. Now, if you have, for instance, Starbucks in your portfolio, in your investment portfolio, you have maybe Tesla, you have all kinds of United States investments. You have some agricultural products. Maybe you are in, drill baby drill, but you have all kinds of stocks, right? How will this scenario work now on your portfolio of investments? Now, I can tell you that, for instance, if this continues, then potentially, this is not financial advice, but potentially, the Starbucks people will demand a higher wage, then your earnings for your share, the earnings per share, is going to go down. So it can be that in the next quarters, that if people demand more wages, then that means that your profits for your stocks, certain stocks, are going to go down. And now, if you bought Starbucks with an earnings, with a PE ratio of say 15, or 25. You bought it high. So there is a lot of air in your portfolio. You bought it because you think it's going up. Now it's going down because everybody is going to say, okay, there is less earnings. Maybe we're going to dump this stock. And now suddenly it has impacted your portfolio. Okay, so within the group, the 16-week, we're going to have different people. We're going to have different people in the group. We're going to have people, high-paid employees who want to know what their future looks like, their wealth looks like, their net worth looks like. Maybe people who have a portfolio of stocks, and they can use the insights of building scenarios with the United States economic model and with the BRICS economic models, also future. They can use that to understand how their portfolio works. We can discuss, and you can understand, you can make your own judgment. Okay? So that's the idea. Now going back to the model. Again, we're running a simulation which is very, very simple here. And we're going to just showing you, I'm showing you what we can already do for all island nations in the Caribbean, 12 island nations in the Caribbean. And also, maybe you are just somebody who have a pension and you are retiring, you are retired, you are not afraid of numbers, but you want somebody to explain the whole economic situation for you, the different scenarios, etc., how the work is going to be. Maybe you are a Bitcoiner, a person invested in Bitcoin on Nostr, and you just want to understand how are they going to print more money. Are they going to print more money in this scenario or not? Now, let me show you a potential threat to printing more money. Look at this. So now, let's look at the economy. Let's look at the economy. So we already saw that prices are going up. We already saw that prices are potentially going up. Here, consumer price. Prices are going up. And how we see a jump there. You see that? Prices are going to be 4.1%, and then suddenly, boom, 15%. And initially, and then they're going not to continue being high, but you're going, in this model, the prices, there are processes that going to put the prices down again. But this is the price increase. This is now the increase. So you're going to get an increase of, say, some 20%. Look at that below. If I sum everything, about 18-19% you're going to get in the next 5 years. Only because of this scenario, you're going to get a 20% increase in prices extra on top of it. Now, did you think about that? Tell me, did you think about it? Let me put an applause. Let me put an applause. Yeah? To this scenario. You see that? Now, that horn is to make you think that not everything which is said on the internet, that we're going to hurt them. It's not going to hurt nobody but you. Now, let's look back at if you have purchasing power going down because inflation went up and purchasing power going down. Let's look at the purchasing power here. You see that? Row 232. Purchasing power going down with 9% right away because inflation went up. That's what these models tell you. Because most of the people, they think, let me go to you. Most of the people who don't have these economic models, they think, I'm going to do this, and then nothing's going to happen. You see? I think I'm baffled. I'm like, if you look at my Nostr picture, and Nostr is just a social media, decentralized. Go to nostr.com and you will get that. And you don't need to have a name or an email there. You just get a private key, and then nobody can take your stuff down. So I'm on LinkedIn, I'm on YouTube, I'm on Facebook, but I also am on Nostr, and I'm streaming on Nostr for Bitcoin community to educate people, because I'm going to tell you about what is going to happen with the money printing. Good. So I'm like baffled that nobody is talking about this. You understand? Nobody is talking about this, what these consequences can be. Nobody in the Caribbean is talking about the potential scenarios for the Caribbean. Nobody is talking in the United States. I didn't hear anybody like, how is this going to affect the United States itself? Nobody is calculating it. That's why I'm starting to do this. Okay, purchase power going up. Going down. Good. Now, what is consumption going to do? Because the United States economy is consumption driven. Consumers, when you have the consumer, it can be export driven, it can be investment driven, it can be government investment driven. With consumption driven the whole economy is like the consumption, the consumers are pushing the economy. Basically, the consumption function is very important. You have to study the consumption in this kind of models, the consumption function. How is consumption going to react? Now, I can tell you that if your purchasing power goes down, you're going to consume less. So that's why you see here, when you go up, now consumption, this is consumption, so household consumption is called, it's going down. So household consumption here, that's consumption of the households, it's going down because of this. Like we said, indirect taxes, the tariffs go up, prices go up, purchasing powers go down. Now, my power, I cannot consume. Honey, we're not going for the Caribbean. Honey, we're not going to, let's say, buy the new car. Honey, we're limiting, we're cutting everything. Honey, we are already in debt with the credit cards, etc. I cannot get more credit card. Boom, let's consume. So when you consume less, it's going to be bad for your standard of living. You see that? Boom, consumption going on. Now, probably investments are also going down. Why? That's gross capital investments. You see here? So after 1 year, so if this is introduced in 2025, you see the first year nothing happens with investment. This is investment. Capital formation means investment. But later on, it's going to be down. Why? Because the profits went down. Why did the profits go down? So where do we see here the profits going down? You see here the profits, row 238, going down. And this is in millions. In the case of Curacao, so you see what's happening? At the one hand, the government is saying, playing tough. Like, boom, we're putting 700 million on tariffs on half of the imports, and we're going to target a specific country, maybe some products. This half is just a first scenario. When we're building the United States model, we're going to go deeper, but we're going to do that. That's the government playing tough. And then things starting happening in the economy. So let me show you spreadsheet again. Boom. Let me show you the spreadsheet. Let me show you the spreadsheet. Here. The profits are going down. 242 million guilders in this case, and that's about 120 million US dollars. The profits in the second year, you see, so why do the profits go down? Because probably wages went up, inflation went up, wages went up. And if your wages also go up, why do the wages go up? Because they start demanding more. The power of the labor unions. Well, the taxes. So it's going to be basically who's going to take the tariffs. If the labor unions are strong, they're going to demand higher wages, and then you're seeing the profit decrease. If the businesses are strong, then they're going to say, we're going to pass the whole thing on the tariffs on the people. Our profits are not going to decrease because we're going to pass all the higher costs. You guys cannot ask higher wages because the economy is in a recession. We will just see that. Then we're going to pass that in, and then you will see more unemployment, people consuming less, consumption going down. But now, if the profits are hit, and in the model you see that, because the wages are also increasing, there's going to be a conflict basically. What is this telling you? There's going to be a conflict within the employees and the employers. So, you're going to see in the United States there is already a conflict between the labor class and the wage earners and the enterprises. I just heard that there is 3% of the population of the United States has a business or corporation, and 97% are people working. There is already clash. There is already inequality. This is going to put more pressure internally. You see, you're going to put a tariff on other people, and internally there's going to be a higher struggle now. How is Wall Street going to react? Okay, this is Curacao. Imagine this is United States. So the economy is going to go down. Real GDP per capita. No, real GDP growth. You see here? This economy is basically consumption, investments. We saw investment going down. We saw consumption going down. There is exports. Exports can also react on that, but in this simple model, we are not looking at the exports. So you will see the exports here. This model is basically tourism based. So you don't see a lot. You see the export price going up. So you're becoming more expensive for the world. That's an impact. Your prices are going to be higher, internal consumer prices, but your prices for the world compared to China, compared to Europe, compared to Canada is going to be higher. Your products, you cannot put your products, if you are exporting your products, you cannot put them anymore on that market, on the global market, because you have put a tariff on maybe your capital goods, your investment goods, your consumer. What you need to produce has become more expensive. So it's going to affect your export sector. You see, that's why export prices are going up. In this model, you don't see the effect on exports, but I can create simply a version of this model where the exports are also going to react. And I can tell you for sure, exports are going down because you are not competing, price competitive. You are not competing, you are not improving your competitiveness. If we are looking only at the price, your price is going up. Your export price is going up. Your internal consumer price is going up. Your export price is going up. And the world doesn't have tariffs, right? So you are now United States, higher prices, Do you think you can sell your products and get more of your products, that's export, bought by the rest of the world while you are more expensive? The rest of the world, imagine the rest of the world, don't go with this picture. The BRICS go together and they keep cheap, they keep trading with each other like we saw yesterday, and now your products are more expensive. Your exports are going down. So that's on top of it. But ultimately, basically what we're looking at is real GDP is going down. What is that? That means the economy contracts. It's not growing economy anymore. It's not going to be we are make America great again, but it's going to be make the economy go into a recession. Understand that? So this is now for the Bitcoiners, when you are in a recession, what does the Fed chairman normally do? Mr. Powell, he will print more money. He will decrease the interest rates. The interest rates went up because inflation was already high, so you need to increase the inflation. You need to increase the interest rate. You saw what impact that has. And now, in this scenario where the economy is decreasing, in this case, 5%, United States, it can be different, but it is decreasing. It's pointing you to down. A recession. What's going to happen, Bitcoiners? They're going to print, and they're going to decrease the interest, increase the interest rates, potentially, and they're going to also print more money to alleviate this recession. Okay, so here you see what if we continue to build on the scenario of increasing tariffs on other people, how it can lead to a recession internally, and how it can lead to printing more money. M2 is going to go like this. And we, people on Nostr, you have seen that Bitcoin is only 21 million. You have seen that people have gone to Bitcoin. You have seen that Bitcoin is already, right now, let me check, right away on CoinMarketCap, you see that Bitcoin is right now $97,000. So now you see it has become a monetary problem. You see? It has become a monetary problem because first it was a fiscal problem and we're going to tariff it. That means that we are in the budget. We're playing tough. You see how it has become something out of the labor market already because, hey, higher wages. Also, you see how it has become something on the private sector, investment. Hey, my profit's going down. You see how it can go to Wall Street, because Wall Street now, with the investors, what are they going to react? How are they going to react based on their stocks going down? And you see also how the real GDP went down. That means contraction of the economy. And how now we are in a recession because we started increasing tariffs on the people. And you see how this can lead to the monetary sector, which means we're going to decrease the interest rate. We're going to print more money. Now, if you are somebody who are investing in real estate, you are investing in stocks, you are investing in maybe Bitcoin, you are investing in whatever other options in a savings account, now you see how this scenario will play out. And you see these kinds of scenarios are running. And you see now I broke it down especially to basically your household. If you are a high-paid professional, you are living in the Caribbean, You're living in the United States, you're living in Europe, you're living in China, in the BRICS, and you have some savings and you have invested it in public stocks. You have a savings account, you have maybe real estate. Do you see now how this macroeconomic scenario will play on your portfolio, on your net worth? Net worth means your assets and your liabilities. Okay, so I broke it down so that you know exactly what we're going to do in that 6-week program of the United States. So again, let me show you before we go to the end. Going back. So let's look at what will happen to the dashboard. You see here, basically, it's not going to look nice. Inflation going up. This is the blue line, and this was the baseline. Baseline means like what is happening basically if we don't do anything. But this is the impact of the tariffs. In Curacao, this is the impact. Real GDP going down, contraction. Okay, we are not going to show how the Fed reacts, but if we print more money, we can just hook this thing up to the model, to the Bitcoin 2024 model of Michael Saylor, and we're going to see some effects because the government is running a deficit right now probably. Consumption going down. You see here the brown line. You see investments. This is the brown line. Investments lower. Everything is going the worst case. GDP per capita, that's also a sign of, for instance, how rich are we? We can also have the income equality, but this is the GDP per capita, and now we are less wealthy. Okay? Then we have some employment, number of unemployed going up. Blue line, buff, that. So this scenario is a bad scenario. Good. So that's the macroeconomic model of Curacao. Thank you very much. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to save this model, and so that I can study it, and I can explain other people in the Caribbean that I'm consulting, that I'm advising, and investors. I'm going to run this scenario, of course, with the other 12 macroeconomic models that I have of the Eastern Caribbean, Turks and Caicos, Jamaica. But I want to show you, finally, we are already 1 hour, but I wanted to show you the next 50 minutes. I want to show you how we can put the BRICS framework into this model. How can we put this BRIC framework into this model? Because like we have here a Curacao model, we can put the BRICS data that we studied the last episode, or the United States data, we can put it into this framework to do that, what we need to do is I'm just briefly, fast, walk you through what data do we need to construct such a model. First of all, we go here to the past, and everything which is gray is coming from a database. And everything which is white is just a formula. So if we have the gray figures, and we have that for a country, for Russia, for China, for maybe South Africa, for the United States, you know, the BRICS. If we have the data, then we can plug it in here, and basically we have a test version of the model, just like we have a Curacao model that we run. Now we can have a first test version of a model of the BRICS of the United States. So I will just walk you through some, and I will show you, for instance, the case of China. I will show you just briefly the case of China, how we can get this data for China. And for that, you have to understand what we did yesterday. Yesterday, we went through the joint statistical, or last episode, joint statistical publication 2024 of the BRICS. We went through that 2 hours. People said it's too much, but I want to be thorough. If you don't want to stay, it's okay. But the people who want to stay will learn more and will understand this. And this is free out of my heart from the Caribbean. Beautiful. So this is investments. You see that? This is investments. You will get that from the national accounts. You will get that from the national accounts of the data that we have for BRICS. So if you are in the BRICS right now and you say, okay, Rooney, how can we get this macroeconomic model? I'm interested. For the BRICS, just like USA, I'm explaining to you how we're going to do it. So you go to the national accounts and you get this information. So how it works is I will go and I will extract all that data from the PDF using my automation, artificial intelligence process. I also have a course on how I do that. If you want to know more about that course, Python, Island Wealth Management, automation, creating digital assets with artificial intelligence and automation. Python is just a programming language. It's a 6-week course. It has been well done. I had many students, and I'm going to live again with that training program. It's a transformation because you're going to move from Excel spreadsheet here to Python. But we're going to extract that information from the PDF, create a database, and then we're going to get from the national account this information. Put it here. Imports. No, gross domestic product. Also, this is gray. We need that. We need that for 2000, let's say 2000 till 2020, 2012, 24, as long as possible. And then when we have that, we have all the formulas, etc., to calculate it for the future. So these are formula. If you look at the top left, you see the formula there. But now, if you see here, if you see the gray are coming from the source, and the source is the database containing all this information. So how it works is you go, you collect the data, like the data in the joint statistical publication of the BRICS, the data of the United States. I have to collect that. I have to put some effort into that. That's why the 16-week program is not free, because I cannot do that. My team needs to collect that, and then boom, you put it in. Good. Compensation, employees. So how much are the wages? This is also national accounts. Consumption, fixed capital. This is the investment. This is also national accounts. So national accounts is like a publication, like we saw yesterday. We discussed it. the last episode. This is the second episode where we discuss the BRICS. Good. Now, I want to just show you. Then you have fiscal sector, all this data, taxes, income, revenues, etc. Well, do you want to see this data now for China in the publication yesterday? Understand? Let me show you this BRICS. Boom. So, here in the BRICS documentation, I just went to that last publication we had the last time, and then you see this is about the taxes for China from 2000 to 2023. So we already have all the taxes here. They are not in the right format, but I know that these are all taxes and tariffs. You look at this. These are all taxes on goods. These are all taxes on goods. And then you have some taxes on whatever. These are revenues. But then you need to get these taxes. You see? And you need to put these taxes. This is the income tax. This is the profit tax. This is the business tax. You see, this is the indirect taxes. So we have all these taxes, details of China. And because the BRICS people producing this joint publication did a great work. Let me give them an applause. Thank you for your work. And we're going to use this data to create models for the BRICS and also models for the United States to share with the 1 billion people around the BRICS. And we're going to show it, and we are going to discuss with you if you have any opportunities for collaboration. We're going to discuss this. So here you see that this table is exactly the same data that we need for this data. The government sector. So what is going to happen is I'm going to get this data, start collecting this data for this fiscal sector, and then going to the external sector by going to the balance of payments of the BRICS in that document, and I'm going to put that data in. Going to the external sector, going to the national accounts, putting that data in. And then what you will see, I will also do that for the United States, then you will see what will appear. This is not the Curacao model anymore, but we have all the data in this framework. And once we have the data in this framework of a macro model, we're going to tweak it and we can run simulations, etc. So that is what we have. 1 hour and 10 minutes. I don't want to make it to 2 hours this time. Thank you very much. And I'm going to be answering all your questions. Let me show you. It was a great episode today where we saw how the impact of Mr. Trump putting tariffs on the imports of certain countries. We simulated how this can work, and it's not what you think. You're not going to hurt them, you're going to hurt yourself, your economy, your export sector, your wages, your wage earners, your laborers, your profit of your companies is going to hurt potentially also Wall Street. If you have stocks in portfolio, it's going to hurt the earnings of those stocks, and also it can help create more money by the Fed. Maybe the interest rates needs to be decreased. That's what we showed today with just a macroeconomic model. And we're going to build that macroeconomic model also for the United States. But I already showed you insights, key insights, so that you know. If you are on Nostr, comment below, give me a zap. If you are on YouTube, just subscribe, comment. If you are on LinkedIn, you are a professional, you value this information. Comment below with a question. If you are on Curacao, if you are in the Caribbean, if you are in the Eastern Caribbean, if you are in Jamaica, Turks and Caicos, you might be an investor, a high-paid professional, a normal, low-paid professional. You want to have more wealth. You want to think about the future of your children. You want to pay the bills. You want to have a house. You want to advance. You don't want only to have savings on the banks, but you want to create wealth in this high inflationary scenario that we saw today. This is your show, Island Wealth. I'm Rooney Calmera. I'm going out. Put your questions in there. I will just go down on LinkedIn. I will go in YouTube. I go on Nostr. I will go to Facebook. And then I will just answer these questions. I will let my team answer the questions that you have. And the next episode is going to be tomorrow. The next episode is going to be tomorrow. It's going to be something great. We're going to show you the G7 versus the BRICS, how big they are. And we're going to show you some of the graphs that you really need to look at for the United States, the BRICS countries, and it's going to be another hour where we show you dynamically, by analyzing a graph, just like we did today, what is the current status of the BRICS and also the United States. Thank you very much, and we're out. I'm going to leave you with that offer again. This is a great time, and this is the wealth, the island wealth that we have in the Caribbean and all over the world. Visit us. This is it. So share this for me. Zap it on Nostr. Give me some comments. Even if you zap it, it's also good. I'm out. I'm going to have a lunch, to prepare for dinner.